Hello viewers, welcome to the Science in World. Today we will discuss about the upper limb anatomy. So what is upper limb, its parts, its joints, we all discuss in this topic. The upper limb is associated with the lateral aspect of the lower portion of the neck. It is expanded from the trunk and muscles and a small skeletal articulation between the clavicle and the sternoclavicular joint. The sternoclavicular joint between the sternum and the clavicle. Based on the position of its major joints and component bones, the upper limb is divided into shoulder, arm, forearm, and hand. Four parts. The shoulder is the area of upper limb attachment to the trunk. The arm is the part of the upper limb between the shoulder and the elbow joint. Forearm is the between elbow joint and the wrist joint, while the hand is distal to the wrist joint. You see, this point is called the shoulder. This is the arm, elbow joint. Between elbow joint and the wrist joint is the forearm, and distal to the wrist joint is the hand. Axilla, control fossa, and carpal tunnel. These three points are the significant areas of the transition between the different parts of the limb. Important structures are passed through these. Regional anatomy of the upper limb. What is the regional anatomy? The shoulder is the region of the upper limb attachment to the trunk and the neck. The bone framework of the shoulder consists of the clavicle and scapula, which forms the pectoral girdle, shoulder girdle, and the proximal end of the humerus. Superficial muscle of the shoulder consists of the trapezius and deltoid. These two muscles make the shoulder, which are the most important and the superficial muscles, which together form a smooth muscular region over the lateral part of the shoulder. These muscles connect the scapula and clavicle to the trunk and to the arm respectively. This one is the trapezius muscle and this one is the deltoid muscle, major muscles of the shoulder. Clavicle. The clavicle is the only bone attachment between the trunk and upper limb. It is palpable along its entire length and has a gentle corded S-shaped contour. Clavicle is of the S shape. The sternal and medial end, also called, is enlarged and triangular, which is in triangular shape, where it articulates with the manubrium of the sternum to form the sternoclavicular joint. Its acromial end, which is also called the lateral end, is flat, which is in flat shape, while the medial end is of the triangular shape, where it articulates with the acromion to form the acromioclavicular joint. Joint between the acromion and the clavicle is the acromioclavicular joint. The medial two-thirds of the body shaft of the clavicle are convex anteriorly, whereas the later third is flat and concave anteriorly. These curvatures increase the raggles of the clavicle and replace the appearance of an elongated shape S. Also designated as a long bone, clavicle is also designated as a long bone, has no medullary cavity, has no any medullary cavity, no medullary cavity. It consists of spongy cancellous bone with a shallow compact bone. The clavicle has two surfaces, one surface, two surfaces, a smooth superior surface and just deep to the skin and the platysma muscle. The inferior surface of the clavicle is rubbed with four strong ligaments bind it to the first sternal and unspanned scapula from its acromial end. The conoid tubercle near the acromial end. Where near the acromial end is the conoid tubercle of the clavicle gets attached to the conoid ligament, the medial part of the crococlavicular ligament. The subclavian groove in the middle third of the clavicle is the side attachment of the subclavius. More medially is the impression for the costoclavicular ligament. On the medial side, it is the impression of the costoclavicular ligament which binds the posterior to the clavicle. And the acromial end of the clavicle is the trapezoid line to which the trapezoid ligament attaches. Here is the lateral part of the crococlavicular ligament. Which part? Lateral part. This bone is called the clavicular bone. This bone is called the clavicular bone, which is an S shape. This is the lateral side. This is the medial side, which is of the triangular shape, and lateral side is of the flat shape. It articulates with the acromion. Lateral side articulates with the acromion, while the medial side articulates with the sternum, manubrium of the sternum. This is the conoid tubercle, and this is the trapezoid line, and the trapezius muscle attached. This is another picture of the clavicle bone. You clearly see that this is of the S shape. This is the conoid tubercle. This is the posterior with the interior subclavian groove. This is the trapezoid line, clearly mentioned here. Deltoid tubercle where the deltoid muscles attach. This is the sternal facet, articular facet also called. Now, what is the apparent anatomy of the clavicle? The clavicle varies in shape more than most other long bones. It varies in shape. It is thicker and more covered in manual workers, and the sides of muscular attachment are more marked. The right clavicle is thicker and stronger than the left and is usually shorter. Fracture of the clavicle. The clavicle is commonly fractured, often by the indirect force resulting from violent impacts with the outstretched hand during fall transmitted through the bones of the hand from an arm to the shoulder, or by the force directly onto the shoulder itself. The weakest part of the clavicle is the junction of its middle and lateral third, which makes this point more susceptible to fracture. Clavicle is the bone which is more susceptible to fracture or easily fractured. Ossification of the clavicle. The clavicle is the first long bone to begin to develop during the fifth and sixth embryonic weeks in condensed mesenchyme. During the fifth and sixth embryonic weeks, it will be developed. It completely ossifies in the 25th to 31st years of life, making it last of the emphasis of long bones to fuse. Till 25 to 31st years of age, it completely ossifies. Now, what is scapula? Scapular shoulder blade is a triangular flat bone that lies at the posterior lateral aspect of the thorax, at the posterior side of the thorax, and on the lateral side, where it covers from this 22nd to 7th rib. Second and seventh rib it covers. It comprises of three angles, three borders, two surfaces, and three processes. You clearly see this is the scapula bone, this is the anterior view, this is the posterior view. This is the spinous scapula, which is in the posterior view, not present in the anterior view. This is the glenoid cavity where the humerus bone articulates. This is the coracoid process and this is acromion. This is the coracoid process. This is costal surface, which is flat. This is the posterior surface, spinous scapula, infraspinous fossa, and this is the supraspinous fossa. Two fossa, supraspinous and infraspinous. This is the acromion process. The convex posterior surface is usually divided into two by the spinous scapula and the small supraspinous fossa and a much larger infraspinous fossa. These three fossa gives attachment to some fractally muscles on the upper lip. A thick projecting ridge of bone called the spinal scapula continues laterally as the flat expanded acromion, which articulates with the acromial end of the clavicle, forming the acromioclavicular joint. Superior laterally, the scapula forms a shallow glenoid cavity which articulates with the head of the humerus to form the glenohumeral joint. Projecting anterolaterally to this cavity is the structure that resembles a landing finger point to the shoulder. This structure is called the coracoid process. This is the glenoid cavity, glenoid fossa, where the head of the humerus articulates. Angles on the scapula has three borders, namely medial, lateral, and superior. Median to the medial side, lateral to the lateral side, and superior to the superior. Also has three angles, namely superior, lateral, and inferior angles. Under anatomical position, the thin median border of the scapula runs parallel to and approximately 5 cm lateral to the spinous muscles of the thoracic vertebra. Thoracic vertebra of the thorax. Hence, the median border is usually referred to as the vertebra border. From the inferior angle, the lateral border runs superior-laterally toward the apex of the axilla, hence sometimes called the axilla border. It is also called the axilla border due to the presence of the axilla. The lateral border remains in the truncated lateral angle of the scapula where the third glenoid cavity is located. The broad process adjacent to the cavity is the head of the glenoid cavity, while the constricted part between the head and the body is the neck. The superior border is marked by the suprascapular notch near the junction of the medial two-third and the lateral one-third. It is the thinnest and the shortest of the three borders. The glenoid cavity is a shallow concave oval fossa approximately 4 cm long and 3 cm wide for the reception of the head of the humerus bone. The cavity faces anterior, lateral, and flatly superiorly. This is the glenoid cavity where the head of the Humerus bone articulate. This acromion process, supraglenoid tubercle, cricoid process, infraglenoid tubercle is the lateral border. Inferior angle, superior angle, lateral border. Now, what are the fractures of the scapula? In most cases, the scapula are well protected by muscles. It is protected by different types of muscles and it's associated with thoracic walls. Therefore, more fractures of the scapula involve the protruding subcutaneous acromion. There is the acromion which protrude outward, thus there is a fractured scapula.